60 years ago, around this time, the third week of September, the Indian Army was virtually on the outskirts of Lahore. Pakistan, it had lost almost 60% of its armor, more than 300 tanks destroyed in a number of battles. Pakistan had been given a bloody nose. But this time, in 2025, Pakistan has been given a bloody nose again in Operation Sindoor. And this time, the Indian Armed Forces did not even have to cross the Ichogil Canal. To talk more about the 1965 war and Operation Sindoor, I'm now joined by one of the key architects of India's victory in Operation Sindoor, the Army Commander, Western Command, Lieutenant General Manoj Kumar Katiyar. Sir, welcome on the Chakravyuh podcast.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you.
Sir, as we celebrate 60 years of that spectacular victory in 1965 that some have often called a stalemate, we'll talk about that in greater detail. We will also talk about Operation Sindoor because somewhere down the line, Pakistan doesn't seem to learn its lessons. But for the benefit of our younger viewers, I want you to talk us through the way the 65 war started and why 65 war was so important to send across that message to Pakistan.
Yeah, actually, like you said, 20th September, historically a very important date for us. 60 years back, we were on the outskirts of Lahore and Sialkot. But actually, the operations in 1965 started in the month of April, when Pakistan attempted to capture certain disputed areas in Kutch. We foiled those attempts. But then again in May 1965, Pakistan surreptitiously occupied certain peaks in Kargil area, like it did again in 1999. We again actually evicted him, defeated him, evicted him from all those peaks in Kargil. Thereafter, in August, it launched a very ambitious operation, Operation Gibraltar. The aim was to capture the Jammu and Kashmir. And it trained a huge militia of Rajakars, which were trained and officered by the Pakistan Army. Aim was to infiltrate them, take the help of Jammu Kashmir Awam, and capture the whole of Jammu and Kashmir. But Indian Army, again, with the help of Jammu and Kashmir Awam, which was very loyal to the cause of India, foiled the attempts of Pakistan. We evicted all the Rajakars, killed most of them or captured them, and this attempt of Pakistan to capture Jammu and Kashmir was foiled. In fact, we launched our attacks across the that time ceasefire line and captured a number of important places. Hajipir Pass, if you remember, was one of the places we captured across the ceasefire line. But then Pakistan, again, since was very desperate to capture J&K, it launched a proper military offensive to capture Akhnur. The aim was that it will cut off Jammu and Kashmir, and the Jammu and Kashmir will then be captured by the Pakistan. But again, we foiled those attempts. It could not move towards Akhnur. So there was a repeated, you can say, provocations by Pakistan starting from April till September. So now our leadership decided that we will launch our offensive. And then on 6th September, our 11 Corps launched the offensive towards Lahore. And on 8th September, our 1 Corps launched the offensive towards Sialkot. Now, in both these operations, we captured a lot of territory, we captured a lot of important areas, and we were, if I can say, threateningly close to Lahore and Sialkot. Yeah. And that forced Pakistan to seek request for ceasefire, which of course, our leadership accepted.
Indeed. I mean, if Pakistan lost 60% of its armor, if I remember correctly, the stories I've heard right from my childhood, like you must have heard, like every Fauji kid does, 300 plus Pakistani tanks.
Yes.
Punjab became the graveyard of
Yes.
Pakistani pattern tanks, didn't it, sir?
Yes.
But why did Pakistan continue to provoke us? I fail to understand, despite India being so generous with that Indus Waters Treaty in 1960. So our kindness is rewarded with conflict.
Our top leadership wanted peace with Pakistan. But the core reason of Pakistan's repeated military misadventure from 1947 till date have not changed. And they were very recently enumerated by the Pak Army Chief Asif Munir also, where on 16th April, just before the Pahalgam attack, he said that Kashmir is the Pakistan's jugular vein. And he emphasized on the two-nation theory, a theory that Hindu and Muslims are two different nations. A debunked theory, but that is what the Pakistani leadership professes. Also in 1965, Pakistan had got emboldened by the large military aid it had received from the United States, the Patton tanks, Sabre and Starfighter jets. And it also perceived India to be militarily weak and vulnerable after 1962 war.
Yes.
So in a way, it was an opportunistic maneuver by Pakistan based on its assumed military strength and perceived Indian vulnerability.
It's interesting you should mention that, this opportunistic maneuver that Pakistan tried to undertake, given the fact that we'd suffered a debacle in 1962. But post-1962, the Indian Army also tried to improve quite a bit, and the professional army that we are, sir. But I want to understand from you, in the conventional sense, Pakistan thought it could try either through terrorists or Razakars, as you mentioned, in Kashmir, but this wide area of its operations from Kutch initially to Kargil and then Kashmir. Do you think in the conventional sense he thought he could either do it unconventionally or do it conventionally, and can he do it again?
Yeah, actually, Pak, as I look at it, he may again carry out terrorist attacks. Something what he did in Pahalgam very recently, despite the punitive punishment which we have given to Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. But like in 1965, I feel that Pakistan Army may carry out conventional operations also if it feels that India is vulnerable at some point. So to me, the threat exists both in a hybrid domain, that is the attack by the terrorists, or in conventional domain, that is by the Pak military.
And if I were to go back for a moment to 1965, Pakistan perceived India to be weak and it carried out a number of operations. What is your reading of India's counter strategy and some of those important battles in your view where India was able to turn the tide on Pakistan and the challenges we faced there?
Yeah, so Indian strategy, if I can say so, starting from Kutch, Kargil, Kashmir, was to prevent the Pakistani misadventures. But thereafter we decided to go for counter-offensive, and we launched our offensive towards Sialkot and Lahore. So if you look at the number of battles which have fought, there are very many important battles where our brave soldiers fought with valor, defeated Pakistani army. There are countless examples of courage and sacrifice of our brave soldiers and outstanding combat leadership. So actually all battles, all engagements are very important. But if you ask me to name a few very important battles, maybe the capture of Hajipir by Major Ranjit Singh Dayal, important landmark. Battle of Philora, where Lieutenant Colonel A.B. Tarapur led his unit from the front, made the supreme sacrifice, was awarded Paramveer Chakra. Battle of Barki and Dograi, where we crossed the Ichogil Canal, threatened Lahore. Then, of course, the battles near Khemkaran, where Pakistani attacks were foiled. And the fields of Asal Uttar actually became the graveyard of the dreaded Pakistani patent tanks.
Yeah.
And it is at Asal Uttar where CQMH Abdul Hamid in his RCL Jeep took on the patent tanks, destroying a number of them, sacrificed his own life, and earned the Paramveer Chakra.
So it's amazing you should mention that. In fact, what an amazing answer. And the soldiers you mentioned, Major Ranjit Singh Dayal, that operation of Haji Pir, or Company Quartermaster Havaldar Abdul Hamid, the manner in which his jeep mounted recoilless gun, the manner in which he was targeting the latest Pakistani patent tanks, and of course Colonel Adil Shir Tarapur. Again, in India, we don't look at the religion of the officer. They're all Indian Army officers, but a Sikh, a Muslim, a Parsi, a Hindu, it just doesn't matter to us. And that's that message that Pakistan or Asim Munir just don't seem to get.
Actually, when you look at the Indian Army, or Indian nation as such, it turns the two-nation theory on its head. Actually, the two-nation theory was debunked even in 1971 when East Pakistan broke away. But then Pakistan leadership, its military leadership, it still espouses this theory and tries to create animosity based on religion.
Yeah.
But I feel to us in India, mazhab nahi sikhata aapas mein bair rakhna.
True, true. In fact, the other point that you raised, sir, Pakistan had the latest tanks, the M47, M48 American-made patent tanks, and they were the latest, the Sabre jets that the Pakistan Air Force had, or the Starfighters. Compared to that, our Shermans, our Centurions, and yet we came out on top. That Punjab became the graveyard of those Pakistani patent tanks, and we have a patent nagar, don't we, sir? So what explains this, that they had the latest and we came out on top?
Well, you rightly said that Pak had technologically advanced tanks and the aircraft, Starfighter and Sabre jets. But ultimately, what proved decisive was the man behind the machine, the training and motivation of our men. Like you rightly said, CQMH Abdul Hamid. Can you imagine a person sitting in an open jeep engaging the patent tanks? In just 2 days from his jeep, he destroyed 7 patent tanks, which were considered invincible. In the sugarcane fields of Asal Uttar, he turned steel into scrap and fear into fury. He was hardened in the Battle of Namka Chu in 1962, where he had witnessed the death at close quarters. He had told his buddy, "I am not afraid of dying. I am afraid of not doing my duty." Makes me a bit emotional, but such was the motivation level of our soldiers which won the war for us.
Sir, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you right now talk about the unparalleled valor of CQMH, or Company Quartermaster Havaldar Abdul Hamid. It just goes on to show, as the General very rightly put, that fear turned into fury, and there was no way that the Pakistanis could have done that. And when you read about these battles, when you hear from serving generals and veterans, it just fills you with that immense sense of pride. So we captured the crucial Haji Pir Pass. And sir, you've served in that area. I believe you commanded your battalion in that area.
Close to that area.
Close to that area.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us the significance of the capture of Haji Pir, and was it a mistake to return it?
Well, Haji Pir, very important pass, like you rightly said, and a lot of infiltration of Rajakas which happened in 1965 happened through that pass, and we had captured it. Now, some people say, in retrospect today, that maybe we should not have returned Haji Pir Pass. But we must understand that it was a decision taken in the interest of promoting lasting peace between the two countries. Like I said, our top leadership has always sought peace. Peace with neighbors, which leads to development and prosperity. We returned Hajipir Pass hoping that Pakistan would mend its ways and work towards peace.
And unfortunately, that has never happened.
Yeah,
That's
you're right, but I think it was a right decision at that time to promote peace between the two countries.
So each time when we look at what Pakistan does, are Pakistan's plans maybe tactically brilliant but not strategically thought through? Or does their leadership fail to see what India's response will be?
Yeah, right, Gaurav. I think Pak plans its tactical operations well, but I think it does not think through the outcome of those tactical operations. So maybe the strategic thinking has been lacking in its planning of operations. 1947, it infiltrated the Mujahids, and that convinced the Maharaja that ceding to India was the right decision. 1965, you look at it, number of strategic errors. Operation Gibraltar, it presumed that the Awam of Jammu and Kashmir will support it. Proved to be very, very wrong. Also, it assumed that it could restrict the war to J&K. But then we crossed the international border and attacked him in heartland Punjab. 1971 also, it lacked the strategic thinking and assumed that India would not be provoked by its orgy of violence in East Pakistan. It presumed that India would remain a mute bystander to the ethnic cleansing of Bengalis. Well, we intervened. And rest is history. Birth of a new nation, Bangladesh. 1999, Pak did not anticipate our violent and resolute response to its occupation of Kargil peaks. This year, killing in Pahalgam, I don't think Pak appreciated the resolve of our leadership to respond vehemently and emphatically and hit it where it hurts. That is in heartland Punjab. So perhaps you're right. Pak clearly lacks strategic thinking while planning its military operations.
And when you look at Pakistan in terms of the kind of operations they undertake, if you look at 1965, they had the latest weapons and they failed. When you look at Pahalgam, did they realize that, fine, let's kill Hindus, and was their aim that let's create trouble in India? How have things changed in your view in Pakistani thinking and India's response from 1965 to Operation Sindoor?
No, Pakistan thinking from 1965 till date has not changed.
Not changed at all.
It still believes in its two-nation theory, in creating animosity between the Hindus and Muslims. Like you rightly said, what he did in Pahalgam was not only to disturb peace in Kashmir, it was also to create, you can say, a divide in our country. But it failed.
So when you look at Pakistan's history or India-Pakistan history, whether it was sending in tribal raiders in 1947, Pakistan lost. 65, Pakistan lost. 71, Pakistan lost. Every operation, Op Meghdoot, Op Vijay, terrorism he tried in Kashmir, terrorism he tried in Punjab, Operation Sindoor, the most latest, he's lost each time. But what is your overall assessment? How would you look at our efforts, our victory, and the road ahead?
Political leadership of the country from 1965 till date continues to be peace-loving, but firm, ethical, and decisive under pressure. It has given us the desired freedom of action and fully supported the armed forces. In 1965, the then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri had famously said, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. security and sustenance are the keys. In the recently concluded Combined Commanders Conference at Kolkata,
Yes.
the Honorable Prime Minister expounded the J for us. He said J is for jointness, A is for Atmanirbharta, and I is for innovation. So it's important for us to imbibe this mantra, J for Vijay. Fight jointly, fight integrated.
Brilliant, brilliant, sir. In fact, I will let that be the last word. But, sir, before I let you go, I want you to elaborate for a moment. Now, should there be a threat for India again, you as the defenders of our nation from this Pakistani state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, what is your assurance to the country?
Well, Gaurav, I think through your channel, I can assure our countrymen that Indian Armed Forces will remain steadfast in guarding the safety and honor of our great nation. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Yato dharma tato jai. Where there is righteousness, there is victory. It may be the motto of the Supreme Court of India, but that's the philosophy of our armed forces. Lieutenant General Katiyar, Army Commander, Western Command, for joining me here on this Chakravyuh podcast. Sir, many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.